your host Nova, and we're here at the Girls on the Bus premiere in New York City. So I would love to know, first of all, would you vote for yourself if you if you had the choice?
Oh my God, this is like the ultimate ego question here. No, woefully underqualified.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Got it.
yeah, for sure. But he looks good in a suit.
Definitely, I agree. Well, also, I would love to know, so you do a lot of, for instance, entertainment news and a lot of good, wholesome news. And I would love to know, what is your perception with hard news, and how would you say that you would like to bring that sort of feel-good atmosphere to such hard news?
Yeah, I think the assignment for our show is the 1 hour. I'm sure there's other shows that do the same thing, but I focus on our show where we don't really focus on that. It's kind of, we're talking about what happened the night before, and we keep it very, very light and positive. And that's kind of the assignment, and I enjoy it. When things do happen in the world, we do address it, and but that's not what we do. Yeah.
As a journalist, is there one journalist on the show that you personally resonate with? Yes.
Really?
Yes, you
I
are.
think so.
Yes,
No,
you
I'm not.
are.
No.
You have your own thing going on. You're in your own lane.
Okay.
You're creating your lane.
Okay.
So, yes, as a journalist.
Yes. Who do I like?
Yeah, which reporter resonates with you?
Oh, I absolutely adore David Muir.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's dignified, he's got such gravitas, and I just love watching his show. Yeah, cheers.
I've been a fan of you since Insecure,
Oh,
so
thank you.
obviously this is another kind of comedic relief infused show, and I'd love to, of course, with the hard news and hard facts
it
going on.
has a light part
Yes.
to it that I think we all love about
And
it.
I would love to know, as an actress, is that something that draws you in, kind of like that humor aspect where it's not all the way serious?
Yeah, I think that for anyone, listen, call me for all your dramatic roles too, but I also just love that the show is not one thing. It's about the news, it's about this found family with these women, but it's also like silly sometimes and fun, and I think that when I watch a show with the little bit of time I have, I want to hit all those notes, so I'm grateful that we do.
And on a personal note, which reporter would you say that you resonate with, just on an outsider looking in?
I think that of the reporters on the show, I think I most resonate with Grace, Carla Gugino's character. I think there's something about her, like, always trying to find a secret scoop that I'm interested in, but she's also fabulous while she does it. Yeah.
And why do you think, obviously, we have a political campaign coming up, and why do you think it's so important to watch this series now? Do you think that it'll kind of help lighten the load a little bit?
I hope that people turn off the news a little bit and turn on the show, because I think it's a nice reprieve from the real life politics of the day, which can feel so nasty. And I mean, it feels like we're repeating ourselves over again now 4 years later, and this show will give you a fresh new take on politics.
It's like the Chrissy Teigen meme.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
So, first of all, Star, who are you wearing tonight?
Oh, wow, that's a good question. I should be better. Okay, Hugo Boss and
The boss is bossing.
Armani, but the boss is bossing. What's interesting is I wanted this is an homage to the Obama tan when this was a scandal.
Okay.
Remember when this was the worst that a president could do? So that's what I'm wearing right now.
And speaking of which, we are approaching a political campaign, so I'd love to know, why is this series so essential now? For obvious reasons, but even besides the obvious reasons.
Yeah, I think that now, aside from just the craziness that this election cycle will probably be, I think it's a good fight against, not fight, but it's the antithesis against political fatigue, because I think we're all going to get tired as we move closer into November, but this show offers an escape from all that. I think the humor in it allows you to stay engaged, but also laugh and have a good time, and there's a lot of hope in the show that I hope audiences come out with, and it'd be great if that could spark, a new generation of hopefuls as we move into the election and also just moving forward in general.
And speaking of the humor aspect, I'm a huge lover of comedic relief, and I want to know, if this series, let's say, didn't have that sort of humor element to you, do you think you jump on board just as enthusiastically?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it'd be a lot darker show.
That's what I'm saying.
Like loafers seeing Sadies would just be very different. But I love politics. I love the West Wing. Maybe it'd be more in the West Wing world. And but I think, especially with this subject matter and at this time, I'm glad that they toed the line really well of it being authentic, but also fictional. It being comedic, but also dramatic at times. I think the tone is really nice for right now.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
pleasure.
Hi, how are you doing this evening? Great. So I would love to know, obviously we have a political campaign approaching, and I would love to know, why is this series so essential at this time?
I think it's really important to understand where information is coming from and who's delivering it, and take it with a grain of salt.
And out of all the reporters, who would you say that you maybe resonate with on a personal level?
On the show or in real life?
In real life,
Who do I resonate with the most personally? Wow, that's an interesting question. I don't know. I feel like there's a little piece of each of them that I can relate to. That's a hard question. I don't know.
And what do you hope that viewers take away from this series?
Well, I hope they're entertained, first of all. Secondly, I hope it, makes you think about what's really the driving force behind not just politicians, but journalists as well.
And then I would also like to say, in regards to the comedic relief in the show, like, I'm a huge fan of comedic relief, so I love when they add that.
Yes.
So how can you speak on that, and why was it so important to add that?
Why was it so important to have a comedic element? Well, we are talking about politics, and it's a very dark, dark time in the world. So I think we could all use a little bit more laughter in our lives.
I agree. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So I would love to know, first of all, who are you wearing? Because you're flexing hard tonight.
Okay, well, this is from my man Walter out of Winston and Lee out of LA. I'd seen a bunch of his suits before, and I was like, bro, I gotta have that. It was a different suit, and he was like, let me send you this salmon thing I got. And so we linked it up. Shout out to Bianca, my tailor. She took care of me, and yeah.
Yes, I love it so much. And I would love to know, so we're approaching a presidential campaign, and obviously this series is so timely, and it's of the essence. So I would love to know, why do you think that this series is so essential, especially at a time right now?
Oh, well, for many reasons. One, I think what the show does really well is that the women on the bus are kind of representing all of these different media outlets with the understanding of what that actually means as it's represented through both the stories written and the stories behind the scenes of what happens. I think this is one of those times where there's so much discussed about the candidates that we often forget that the people who write that are people, and they have lives and struggles and relationships, and I think it's really good to have that as maybe a counter note to what's happening in the mainstream media that'll be happening through November.
And much like life, there's a lot of comedic relief in it.
Yes.
So I would love to know, were you a fan of those moments when it maybe got a little bit hot on set and there were different debates going on? And
Absolutely. I think that's my favorite. Talk to Christina, she knows. But those are my favorite moments. I think true drama, true intellect is always shown through humor. So when it breaks, when that humor cracks through, that's when you know that people are giving you their fullest selves, right? When the irony pops through, when the humor can pop through. Otherwise, it can just get heavy, and that often feels disingenuous.
yeah, I could totally see that. And then also, just as a person outside of the series, which reporter would you say that you maybe resonate with the most on a personal level?
I mean, I'm gonna say Kimberly.
Okay, why?
Because one, she's my girl. Two, I think it was an incredibly interesting thing to read a script that had a representation of a black journalist who wasn't simply a mainstream kind of perpetually liberal voice, because I just don't see it represented. However you feel about it, I don't see it represented, so having it represented was really cool.
Right.
Like, I'm relatively apolitical, but just understanding that can be represented in a mainstream show is actually really great.
So you were drawn to like kind of the juxtaposition, you would say.
Yeah. And opening up of identity beyond the barrier of color, but also like political ideology not being anchored into those things as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have a good one. So I would love to know, obviously we're approaching a political campaign now, and it's very fitting with the series. Why do you think it's so important, quintessential, to show this series now, especially when it's comedic relief?
Comedic relief. You got it. You got it in one. It's so, you know, the campaign trail that's in this movie, it's already, the world has changed so fast, it's already from a different time. You know, it is, it's not even a race, whatever the hell is going on right now. It's just two people fighting to the death. And so, but I think it's, you know, important, particularly for younger people, to see that there was a political, and there will hopefully continue to be a political process with all different points of view from different parties, fighting it out in primaries, and we didn't get that opportunity this year, really. So, but also, I hope it attracts people to want to write about the news. I still find, I'm from a family of journalists, I still find journalism very glamorous or romantic, and to be, you know, on a campaign bus or on Air Force One sitting in the back of the press, that looks like fun to me.
I get what you're saying. Well, I would love to know, being that you come from such a journalist background, and I overheard that you wanted to be a journalist yourself.
I did.
Which journalist would you say on the show that you would personally resonate with the most out of all four? Whose personality?
Well, he's a ghost in this, but you know what drew me into my attraction to journalism was reading Rolling Stone and reading Hunter Thompson. And Hunter Thompson's a phantom in this, so I understand Melissa's character's attraction to that, because I had the same thing.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So first of all, you look great. I would love to know who you're wearing.
Who I'm wearing? Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to answer this.
Go for it.
This is my brother's blazer. This is really a community outfit. Like my friends and family. This is my friend Noor's shoes that they let me borrow. These are socks of mine. Brother's dress shirt. I got this from a friend, one of my friends, who did a little tie exchange one day. Honestly, it's like just a full, I don't know the brands.
Wholesome. I love it.
Yeah, I don't know the brands, but I'm wearing my friends and family.
I love it so much.
Yeah, if that's
Bringing them all on the
Yes,
carpet.
absolutely.
Amazing. Well, I would love to know, out of all the reporters, who would you say that you personally mostly resonate with? Just as a person
You mean,
outside of the show.
Yeah. I feel like this is... Okay, you know what? I will say, I love all four of them. And by the way, the cast, one of them is like one of my best friends, so I'm biased, but all four of them are so incredible. Like, I can't wait for you all to see them in this. But Natasha, who plays, I suppose, the Gen Z journalist, is one of my best friends, so I do resonate, I think, just on a Gen Z millennial level. But honestly, Carla Gugino blows me out of the water every single scene. Like, her essence as a journalist, just so, like, you can tell she's seasoned. She's been in this. And that is, I think, what I want to resonate with. But currently, I probably resonate with more like the energy of the Gen Z journalists. Yeah.
I love it. And obviously, we're approaching a
Absolutely.
whole political
I've heard that.
campaign. So I'm wondering, why is it so essential that this series is coming out now? I mean, it's so timely, and I feel like it has some important topics for Gen Z and millennials and everybody watching to see.
Of all ages. Yeah, I was telling someone that I don't know that the showrunners or creators necessarily plan for it to release now. You know, obviously strikes happen and stuff like that, so I think it's almost this like weird serendipitous timing, you know. But I do think we are in a time where I think people need to band together for the greater good of humanity more than ever, and I do think that this show will, you know, bring those topics up in a palatable way, because I know politics is so heated for a lot of people, but I think it really is a show about like relationships, friendships, and in a political landscape in which you can see people of different political backgrounds maybe becoming friends. Maybe not, it's okay, but like at least you see the effort there, and I think that discussion, just that, like, have that influence on viewers is so powerful, you know, and yeah, I'm really grateful for the timing, honestly.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So first of all, you look lovely this evening. Who are you wearing?
Charles Harbison for Harbison Studios.
Very beautiful. So I'd love to know, this is a very essential series because we are now approaching a political campaign and it's very timely. So I would love to know, what would you say to an audience member watching this, and why do you think that this series is so essential at this time right now?
I think that what's so essential about this series right now is that I definitely, as a technically Gen Z person, I think that when I'm approaching politics, it's really easy to detach and to disengage. But this show so much relies on the humanity of these characters. Like, political reporters aren't just these strange men with cameras who are doing this outside thing. They're actual people who are all trying to do the right thing and tell the right stories and have their complex humanity. So I think that it's really important because it creates that humanity. It builds those bridges. It brings you back into, like, oh, I want to engage. I want to be a part of this. I want to, if that makes any sense.
It definitely does. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
How are you doing this evening?
Fantastic. How about yourself?
Great. And I would love to know, first of all, you are flexing this very hard. Can I know who you're wearing?
This is actually a piece of antique vintage family jewelry that I've been dying to wear out onto a carpet at some point. Yeah, for sure.
I would love to know, in this political climate, why is this show so essential at a time like right now?
Oh, man. Well, I mean, this is a big year, right? And I think this show would be essential because maybe you're asking the wrong guy, but I think it's bringing up a lot of great points in a time when I'm going to give the most generic BS answer. Like, it's going to bring a lot of great points about stuff with the stuff, you know, and I think the show is important because it is a show about politics that doesn't involve people hating each other. One side hating another side hating another side, and I feel like in this country right now, there's a lot of people that just hate each other. And in this show, I feel like there's less of that in a good way. I feel like that's kind of the heart of the show.
A little bit more solidarity in that sense.
Yeah, maybe the dream of somewhere in the middle where people listen to each other.
And overall, out of all the journalists, despite it being a craft, who would you say you most resonate with? Do you
Of the
have
4 journalists?
Yeah. Do you have a specific journalist whose mission you really love and admire?
I just can't wait for you guys to see Natasha Benham because I think she's going to be a superstar after this. She's unbelievable. But I mean, they're all beautiful, fantastic, you know.
Great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You're so welcome.
Thank you
So
so much.
nice to meet you.
How are you? Pleasure meeting you, Nova. You look lovely. Well, I would love to know, obviously we're approaching a political campaign and this show seems so timely yet so essential. So I'd love to know, what is your take on that, and why do you think that this is the go-to show, especially this year?
I think the go-to show because it is an escape from some of the more intense and stressful feelings that we all have surrounding elections, and where it gets a little heated. This is a way to say you can also have a little bit of fun and relax, and it's sort of inspired by, but it's actually an escape, I think.
And also, there's a lot of comedic relief. So I want to know, how intentional was that? And were you guys like, it's getting a little too hot in here, let's bring in the comedy?
I will always edge to comedy when I can. That's where I live. So I was very happy. And frankly, there was more comedy that was left on the cutting room floor that I kind of wish we could put back in, maybe season 2.
Yeah, I was about to say season 2. We're gonna manifest it.
We have truly incredible actors, and all of them can play in that. You don't always get that. So sometimes it's also figuring out who you're working with and what they can do. They're all hilarious. And physical comedy, everything. They're amazing.
I believe it,
Yeah.
and I've seen it. And I'd also love to know, out of all the 4 reporters, which one would you say that you maybe personally resonate with as a person outside of the series most with?
I'm a Grace. I would have been a Sadie, but I think I have finally aged out of my Sadiness to a certain degree and was feeling a lot. I definitely, as we were writing all of it, and I feel a little of myself in all of them, but it's possibly also because as a mother, Grace, I connected with her character. I connected with how much she cares and how hard she works and how she wants it to count. And I really liked that about her.
Amazing. Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you.
first of all, you look amazing this
thank you so
evening.
much.
So I would love to know, this is obviously a quintessential series that's important now. It's so timely with the campaign happening shortly. So what is your take on that, and why do you think it's so important to watch it?
Well, I love this show because it's about what I experienced as a campaign reporter, which was a lot of women on the bus covering politics, and you don't really hear about them a lot, but it's part of what it's like now, which is amazing, and it's different. And yeah, I mean, this is also what it's like to cover a campaign in real life. This cycle is going to be a little different. We've got like a sitting president and someone who was president, so that's really unusual. But I always get a lot of questions from people. What is it really like? This is what it's like. So, Amy Chosik, who's one of the executive producers and creators, she and I were on the bus together in 2016, and this is what it's like. And this is a lot of just the types of experiences that we would have had. It really takes you inside the glamorous, the very, very unglamorous parts of it, too.
And what would you say, out of all the journalists, which one would you say you maybe resonate with? Whose personality the most?
Oh, God. I feel like now that I'm a mom, actually, what I will say, I told Amy this morning. As I was watching the show, I saw myself in all of the characters at different stages in my own life. Like, I have been all of these women at different junctures, and now as a mom, I'm like, I feel like the mom pressure of like being at work and needing to be somewhere with your kid, and I've also been there, as a single woman or an engaged woman, and like all of these things. So it's like, it feels like the circle of life for me in all of the characters that are on the show.
And also, being that you cover hard news, obviously, I would love to know, what is the sort of comedic element to it? Like, are you drawn to those types of shows when you're off camera?
Yeah, I love a good comedy, and I love comedy where it's like kind of embarrassing and self-deprecating, and there's a lot of embarrassing stuff that happens to some of the characters, and that's fun. It's really fun to watch.
Thank you so much. We have a political campaign coming up. Why do you think it's so important for this series to air now?
Because I think we're in a time where there's so much media coverage and also social media coverage that sometimes it's hard to tell what's real and what's sort of has a bias. And so I think journalism with integrity, and a show that talks about that, I think is pretty important.
And then also, when you're not on the camera, would you say that you're more drawn to comedy shows? Or for instance, this... Yeah.
100%. I almost exclusively watch comedies.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We have a political campaign approaching, and I would love to know, why do you think that the show is so essential at this time now, especially with its comedic relief?
Well, I think it's incredibly important for viewers to understand how political reporters operate, how the whole system operates, and to understand the personalities involved in it and how everybody has an agenda. And I'm very excited to see the show. And Amy Chosik wrote a superb book after the 2016 campaign. She did an epic job on the road. And I think people don't remember how hard it is. I mean, these reporters are on the bus for months at a time. They have no personal life. It's super difficult to do, and they're very dedicated. And it's easy to take it for granted. And I'm excited to see a show that celebrates and explains it.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I really
Pleasure.